Deadman Mode All Stars Season 3 has now been live for a couple of days at this point, and we have our first answers in terms of who are doing well and who are doing poorly. And there is one team in particular that stands out in a negative way, namely the Odablock Warriors. Not surprising, they are struggling, but we are going to take a look into exactly what the reasons are for them struggling this much. As you can see on screen, on the time of making this video, they have 6 kills to their name and a whopping 40 deaths to go with it. A horrible kill ratio right there. You can see they have 0 blood money, and if you don't know, blood money is used as a currency that you can buy weapons with and other stuff for like the finale. And having 0 blood money at this point is not very good. It's going to take a lot of catching up to get back into it. It's not impossible, but it's looking quite rough with the Weasels of West Ham sitting at 60 blood money at this point. And they're looking to get some footing in this game, and they're looking to get back into it, but right now it is very, very rough for the Odablock Warriors, and we will take a look at exactly why it is going so wrong, why exactly they have this horrible kill to death ratio, because I think it's quite interesting to look at. Deadman Mode All Stars is one of the best, I think it's outright the best content creator event that we have. It really highlights the importance of good teamwork, of good strategizing. It's one of the only areas where we see teamwork playing a significant role, and where you are supposed to elevate each other's accounts, and you're supposed to help your teammates to progress as much as you possibly can, which is what makes this very unique and very interesting to follow. So it's also funny and interesting to see where exactly teams go wrong, and that is certainly the case for the Odablock Warriors. When evaluating whether a team is doing good or bad, you can look at 2 main pillars, in my opinion. You can look at the pillar of account/team progression, and then you can also look at the pillar of PKing, shot calling, and multi-content. And these pillars will influence each other. So, for example, if you do well at PKing, shot calling, and multi-content, you will gain account progression from that, and vice versa. If you are very progressed in terms of your team, then that might influence how well you do at PKing situations, how well you do at multi-content and all that stuff. So they do influence each other, but they're still distinct pillars. And the teams that are doing well will probably excel in one of them, or both of them, or at least be decent in both of them. But in the case of Odablock's team, the Odablock Warriors, they are very, very bad in both departments, and that is why we have the situation that they're in, where they have no account progression, they have no team progression, and they are doing horrible in multi-content and specifically at breaches. And if we take a look at them, we can subdivide account/team progression into macro and micro. By macro, I simply just mean the overall strategy of the team. You could also subdivide that into long-term goals and short-term goals. The macro play is absolutely horrible, and micro play is simply just the goal, the efficiency that you display towards getting to the macro goals. Like, how efficient are you being at getting towards the goal that you've set out for yourself or set out for the team? And they are bad in both departments. They are very, very inefficient, and they are not having any goals that are meaningful in any way whatsoever. And I can't really understand how they are playing this Deadman mode. They are playing so fucking bad, but it's the result of obviously a very bad draft. But the fact that you have so many egos on one team is what makes this team so fucking uncompetitive. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, there's no self-sacrifice on any of these players, and they are not leaning into any of their strengths. On a macro level, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go up in the helicopter, take a look at where are we strong, and you're supposed to lean into these strengths, and then drive the account and team progression forward in that the meaningful direction. But they're not doing any of that. They're not looking at where they are strong. They're all playing by themselves. They're playing free for all, and they are not pushing or driving in any direction. It's really frustrating to watch, because I don't even think you need to be a fan of Odablock's team or any of these players. I don't really like most of the players, to be honest. It's not so much about that, but it's like it's similar to, like, if you were to watch like a basketball team and you're a neutral observer, and they can't even inbound the ball, or you're watching a football game and they can't make complete passes in a row. Like, it's frustrating to watch, and that's what it is to follow this Odablock Warriors team. They are very, very bad, and they're not doing anything correct whatsoever. And what they should do is the overall macro strategy for this team should have been to get Odablock live as early as possible. Do everything you can to channel all resources into him. Drive his account forward so that he can PK, so that he can acquire blood money for the team, and so they can win in the end. But they're not doing any of that, like, because they have so many egos. No one is willing to sacrifice. Nobody is willing to do whatever is best for the team. Like, they're just fucking around doing whatever they feel like at any given moment. It's so insane. Like, you should be out there doing anything you can to propel Odablock's account forward, like to accelerate him, get him online, activate him, enable him to do the things that he's so fucking good at if you allow him to be. But no one is willing to do that, and Odablock is also bad at asking for the help, and people are bad at thinking for themselves, and nobody is strategizing around what their strengths are, and they don't have anyone with any game sense whatsoever. Like, they are so clueless. They're running around like headless chickens. And someone like Odablock, he's obviously the captain, but nobody is really making good shot calls in any way. And he doesn't know how to get his players to work for him. And I think, like, also someone like Odablock could really benefit from being micromanaged in situations like these, because he is not very good outside the little niche that he has carved out for himself. He's very, very strong in PK situations, obviously, but like the macro planning and executing a plan and all that stuff is not where he is very good. So he really needed a leader. He needed someone who could micromanage him and do all this stuff for him in order to really propel him forward. So right now we just have a free fall situation. Nobody is helping anyone, and nobody is doing what would be best for the team, which is to accelerate Odablock as much as possible. So this is the whole like account team progression thing on a macro scale. Absolute dog shit. They have no plan. They're not executing on anything, and they're doing so fucking poorly. And this is why they're struggling so much. Then we also have like on the micro level, why they are bad on a micro level. What I love to do every now and then is I'll take a random spot check. Like, I'll just tune in at a random time. I'll check all 5 POVs, get a random snapshot of what everyone on the team is up to. And you will find that when you have done this like 10, 15 times, you will have an understanding of how fucking inefficient that they are being with their time. Like, for example, you will see at a random time, you might see Doobie Dobies, he's locked out of the game. Regacy is killing Ice Giants. Gnome Monkey is dying at TOA. Eevescape is doing a quest that doesn't even benefit the team. And Odablock is just bank standing, which is doing over and over again. So the strategies aren't there, and the micro efficiency is complete lackluster. Like, they are doing fuck all to drive the team forward in any meaningful direction. So terrible account team progression, terrible macro gameplay, terrible micro gameplay. They could really benefit from a strategist. They could really benefit from having selfless players who would go out of the way to lean into their strengths, to get Odablock activated, get him online on the battlefields. But nobody's willing to do that because they are too egotistical, and they're not willing to help the team anyway. These players that we see here, they don't function in a team setting at all whatsoever. They are all for themselves, and they are paying the price for it, as we can see in the battlefields. Even though I don't think that the game mode is that punishing, they are just getting completely cooked out there, and it's the outcome, it's the result of not having a meaningful strategy and not being able to execute on a meaningful strategy, and all just being really, really bad at the game in the ways that are important in a competition like this. And then we obviously have the PKing shot calling multi pillar. They also struggle with that. They don't have a good shot caller. they don't really have any designated shot caller either. All of them are like calling on their own, and Multi is not, despite the fact that Odablock is one of the most gifted and talented PKs in hybrid situations, tribal situations, high risk situations. He's not very good at multi PKing callouts, and yeah, there's no coherence on this team. Everyone is just shot calling at the same time and making different calls, and it's very very disjointed. And yeah, they're just getting completely cooked, as we will also see in breaches in a little bit. So yeah, the both pillars are very very weak for them, and the account slash team progression pillar is the one that's supposed to be the bread and butter though. Like if you get very very far as a team, uh, as the accounts get really progress, you can make up for the lack of shot calling just by outgearing your opponents, just by having better stats than your opponent. But since they're struggling in both departments, since they are very 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 bad in both departments, they are the most underleveled team, and they're also the worst shot calling team. And this combined is what has led to a complete disaster class of a team. So I'm going to do a review of some actual footage, some actual gameplay, some from the point of view of Team Odablock Warriors, and I've chosen to highlight breach number 3 that is taking place on the third day. It is the one that is taking place in Al Kharid, and the reason I've chosen to highlight this particular breach is because this is the point where this team is the most accelerated relative to the other teams, and they are also in the best gear that we have seen them in at any given point in this tournament so far relative to the opposition. So this is the time where they have the best cards on their hands to actually get a good outcome, to get a good result. And so I feel like this is the most charitable that we can possibly be from this for this team. And this is why I've chosen this particular one. I could also have gone with the one that went down on the day before, namely the one at the Rogue's Castle in Wilderness. But they were horribly outgeared, they were outpositioned, and therefore it would be sort of like bad faith to choose that one. So I'm choosing this particular one just because this is where they are actually the strongest and have the best foundations to come up with a decent result. But as you will see in a little bit, it doesn't go that direction. I will provide some context going into this. What has happened like immediately before. They have been doing Samarak as a team. This is the most cohesion that we've ever seen from this team. They're doing a high value boss actually, not some condoiling boss that isn't worth doing at all. As in terms of progressing the team, they've actually done something productive by doing sending semi. That could give you the Staff of the Dead, so that's a good thing. They also got some spears, a ton of spears actually, that they have passed over to Gnome Monkey so that he can do TOA. What also happened 30 minutes before is that Gnome Monkey teleported out of a TOA attempt, another failed TOA attempt on his part. He teleported out, and then he got killed in Desert, and he died for his semi-spear, thus giving away to the other teams that Team Odablock have been doing or are doing a lot of Samarak. So yeah, that's obviously not bad going into this, but this is really what happens. Like every 10 minutes, every 30 minutes, every 1 hour, like there's always something completely idiotic going on in this team. So yeah, things have been going poorly as they are every any given point, which is what I highlighted before. You could do random snapshots. You could pick a random spot on a VOD or in the live stream, just a random point at any given point. Look at what they are up to. Look at what the 5 players of this team are up to at any given point, and it will be some completely idiotic thing. It's bad on a macro level, and it is bad on a micro level. And also, like, despite, like, this is where they peak so far in the competition. This is where they are the strongest. But despite all of that, Eviscape has just, I mean, Odablock has just been more and more tilted throughout all of this semi-grind, even though it's the most productive they've been. But every time they got another spear, he would say, oh, this could have been a Staff of the Dead, or oh, why are we getting a lucky RNG on the drops that we don't actually want? And really just hurting their overall morale, and there are no one that corrects them on this. So yeah, despite they're actually doing well, like the morale at this point is not very high. Uh, it's kind of weird. Like they finally find some a little bit of footing, a little bit of light in the tunnel. They've actually found from this, and despite that, the morale is really low. And as you can see with the recording that is playing in the background, they're completely fucking around. We are already late for the breach, and they've just been running back and forth from the bank. Makes no fucking sense. And also, a lot of the time they are walking, even though you have infinite run energy. So yeah, getting to the breach, there is no sense of urgency, even though we are arriving late at the breach. I think it is a valuable strategy to squeeze as much time as possible out as you can before going to the breach. Like, no point giving up 30 minutes before a breach unless you really want that strong positioning. But what the Odablock's team is doing is they're just bank standing for 30 minutes before they're going out. Like, they're not making the most use of their time, and then when they are going out, their position will also be bad. So they're not trading time for good positioning. They're just throwing away time and then arriving late at the breach and having a terrible positioning. And as we can see now, they have arrived close to the area where the breach monsters can spawn. But here is where it all begins to crumble for this team. They are being told that they should stay in singles and wait for monsters. This is the call the Legacy is giving them now. But monsters can't spawn in singles area here, and they have just been fed misinformation, and now they're just wasting time. They are stalling, and they're getting some vision of a couple other teams there in the background. But yeah, a horrible call that is based off of misinformation, and yeah, this is already a bad start to the breach, arriving late, and then you don't know that the breach monsters actually cannot spawn. We are gonna fast forward a little bit. A very confused Team Odablock Warriors are running around now. They don't really know what they're doing. They're fighting for ground, looking for territory, but they're not accomplishing anything. They don't have vision of any monsters whatsoever. So I am gonna fast forward a little bit as a fight breaks out in the background with Frame's friends. So we're gonna fast forward here. So here I just fast forward a little bit, and now they have actually teleported away from the area. They have, despite not having taken any damage, despite not having been part of an altercation, they have teleported out of the area. They have abandoned the situation, and yeah, we don't know what this shot calling is now, but it's completely weird. It is very, very weird, and now they are looking to get back into the area. But a very, very confused team. Like, they go to the area, they arrive late at the area, and they teleport out of the area without having lost any orbs, without having lost any food either. So a very, very confused Team Odablock here. And fast forward a little bit. Now they are back into the area, and here we get the second completely misinformation call. Legacy is telling Odablock's team, first he was telling them that they should stay in singles and wait for the breach monsters. Now the call is to be south of Shantae Pass and farm breach monsters there. But unfortunately, breach monsters do not spawn in Shantae area in the Shantae Desert. And I don't know why he would think that, because on the Wikipedia page it specifically says that it's in El Carrot. It doesn't say south of the Shantae Pass. So again here we have a horrible, horrible call, a disastrous call that doesn't net them any progression or any footing in this competition whatsoever. So a very scuffed situation once again, and yeah, it's really just painful to see this team like running around like headless chickens off of complete misinfo calls. And as we will see, they're taking desert damage, and they will soon evacuate the area. But a very, very confused team that is just wasting time, stalling, not making any progression, based off of completely wrong calls already. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit again, and now we have once again evacuated the area completely, and we were already late to the breach, and now we have sacrificed so much time, and we have been in awkward positions. So we're gonna fast forward again. Now we are actually back in the area. We are back where we are supposed to be. We still don't have vision of any breach monsters whatsoever. We're still a little too far north of the area. We have vision of Dino's Nuggets over there. And now we're gonna move back to the area where we basically started, from where we thought single breach monsters would spawn. A very disjointed team, lack of communication, lack of skill, and we have vision of, fast forward, we have vision here of Mr. Pip, and now we're stalling here in this area, just waiting for a call out. And what you're gonna see now is they will advance a little bit south. They will go to this. They will try and get some ground, and they will try to get control of this house that is south of them. And that's what's going to happen in a little bit. And we have Odablock sculling up here on Mr. Pip, and we will fast forward and see if they have advanced to the house. And as we can see here, they have, and they are moving further down south into this house. And now, for the first time, which took forever since the breach started, we are very deep into the breach now. But for the first time, we actually have vision of a breach monster. We have vision of a breach monster. We have scouted out a breach monster. We know that they can indeed spawn, and we're gonna see what the call is here. Very, very late into the party, but here we are, finally arrived. We see a team West Ham Weasels south of us, south of Team Odablock, and we know that there are teams northwest as well. So we are kind of in a precarious position, but it doesn't discourage Team Odablock from staying in the area. And we can also see Reese Rhinos there to the south as well. So a lot of teams are surrounding us. We probably have the worst positioning out of any team at this breach currently, because we are sandwiched between all of them and getting scouted out by Lake there as well. And we know that the Weasels are south. We know the Rhinos are over there. But we are still trying to attack some breach monsters. Now we are evacuating the area a little bit again. Very, very confused. And as you will see soon, a fight is going to break out between Odablock Warriors and the Weasels. And that is going to put this team in a very, very bad position. And a little bit, the call has been made here to focus on the breach monsters for now. And it won't be long until the Weasels will catch a freeze. They will be involved in an altercation with the top dog team. So there we have Foe moving in, and they are piling No Monkey now. Now the fight breaks out between the Weasels and all the Odablock Warriors, and No Monkey is getting piled in. And this is an important point to bring up here. You see the call here is being made. I don't have the audio on for the call outs, but the calls here have been made to focus on Foe. The call has been made to focus on Foe, and this is the completely wrong call. It is completely wrong call here. As you can see in the middle of the screen, we have West Ham and Greg. They are piled, they're standing on the same dot, they're def dotted up. And you would have a very, very good barrage pile on both of them, and they would be very important targets to get down. They should be the highest priorities. Like, Foe is not the shot caller of this team. It is West Ham calling, and so getting on this barrage pile is very, very important. But for some reason, Odablock is making the call that he should focus down Foe, even though he's singled out. And not only is he singled out, but look at the rest of the team. We have Regicy over here, and we have No Monkey over there. And they don't have line of sight for Foe. They cannot attack Foe, but they have great vision over West Ham and Greg. So not only is it a better barrage pile, a better focus area for this team, that could possibly get them a kill. Also, like, they are in a very, very good position, because the positioning is on very unfortunate on West Ham Weasels. They're usually very good at not clumping together, but they fuck up very, very badly here, and they take no advantage. They don't punish it at all whatsoever. The call is to focus Foe. Very, very bad, very, very bad call. And I think in the heat of the moment, you would think it's hectic and stuff, but yeah, this is completely unacceptable. Like, I think you should easily be able to identify the situation here, and you should be able to call out that you should focus on the barrage pile on West Ham and Greg. And yeah, we're gonna resume the clip here. A very disjointed team here, and we are focusing on foe, but only 2 people are attacking him in this current minute. And now we are backing out of the area. The call here is being made that they should focus on going back to focus on breach monsters. So there's some stalemate in the fighting department. We're gonna fast forward. Now we're gonna see a bad situation unfold here again. So Odablock is gonna move in here. He's gonna look to pick up the archaic emblem here, and he will be unsuccessful because he doesn't have inventory space for picking up the archaic emblem, and this means he will actually be caught in a freeze because he's taking too long to pick up the archaic emblem. So yeah, a bit of a micro misstep that means that he's caught out of position and is in great danger. He will escape, but his positioning is very bad. And we're gonna play the clip here, and we'll see that he will look to pick up the archaic emblem here. And also, what's even worse, No Monkey also went to loot something. He still doesn't have overhead prayers up. A huge ego player. Runs around without overheads up, caught lagging all the time. And he's actually so fucking lucky that they don't pile up together here. Like, the amount of luck that sometimes is placed on this team is crazy. And even then, they still get completely nuked. So Odablock is in a precarious position because he didn't have inventory space to pick it up. Luckily, he didn't stack up with No Monkey, who's running around like a headless chicken over there. And we're going to resume the clip here. So he's being caught in a barrage pile here, and the Weasel's obviously calling to focus down Mr. Odablock. And what I like here, what I saw from in the background is on the team of West Ham Weasel is that they would call to spread out. So now they don't have a good barrage pile. And there you see 2 Odablocks stacking up there, which is very, very bad. And now they're looking to abandon the area. They want to get out of this situation. Odablock is looking to help around here. And once again, they're actually able to evacuate. But now they run into a different team. And this is interesting because with who they're fighting now, they are fighting plumbers and teachers. They're fighting people in Mystic, in Black D-Hide. So this is actually a pretty favorable fight. They still have plenty of resources. But because of bad calling, bad execution, bad strategizing, they will also be somehow also on the losing end of this one. So we'll see the fight unfold here with Frame's friends. And a very scuffed fight that is a bit all over the place. And the number one thing here is you don't want to stack up. You don't want to clump together. And somehow they still manage to, because they are never conscious, they're never aware of their positioning. So we're going to resume here. And the call has been made to pile Framed. Unfortunately, Odablock, bad positioning, doesn't give him line of sight or Framed. And now we have the bad barrage clump. Look at this. 3 of them trapped up here. And yeah, they're just getting nuked. Now they're splitting up. They're looking to evacuate this side now. They know that they're on the losing end. Nobody's helping Odablock here. His positioning is terrible. He's looking to get out of the area. And he will, for a short while, manage to escape and make way. And now we have another terrible call by Legacy. This is the 3rd disastrous call from him. He's saying that to the east of where they are now, it's a single area. It is not single area, unfortunately. So the missed call is gonna get them killed now because they believe they're safe. They believe it's singles, but it is actually not. You see Odablock moving to the east where he thinks it's singles, but they're still getting piled now. And now they're getting sandwiched. They're getting pinched from 2 corners. The Framed Friends are attacking them, and West Ham Weasels are attacking them from the south. And now it is cleanup time. Odablock Warriors are once again falling. They are dying. And this is the best position they've ever had at any point so far in Deadman Mode. and now the team is once again completely wiped. They are gone, and they are relegated back to doing Wilderness Agility course. Here we have them sitting at the Grand Exchange. So this is just one random example. Like I said before, I was being the most charitable here. Like, this is where the team is the strongest that I decided to highlight. I could have picked other situations where they look incredibly stupid, where they look incredibly bad, but where it's because they are so far behind in terms of gear and in terms of levels. But this is the best positioning they've ever had. It's the best foundations, it's the best conditions under which they should be able to perform, and this is still the outcome. Like, look at all the events that transpire. They are being inefficient leading up to the event. When they go to the event, they are arriving late. Their downtime is tons of wasted downtime. They are arriving late. The callouts are terrible. First, the call is to stay in a singles area where breach monsters can't spawn. Then they're evacuating the area despite not having lost any food, any HP, anything whatsoever. They're still teleporting out. Then they're teleporting back in to go to south of Shantae Pass where breach monsters also can't spawn. Again, also can't spawn. And once again, they're teleporting out. For the second time, they're teleporting out without having lost any damage, without having been in any altercation with another team. Once again, teleporting out. Then they're teleporting back in. And now for the first time, we're getting a vision of them. And they are still making the wrong calls over and over again. Either they're saying to attack breach monsters when they shouldn't be attacking breach monsters, or they're making a call on a player that they should never attack. And a fight breaks out again, and soon after the call is made to go east, and once again it's a call made of misinformation, because the call is that it is a singles area. It is not a single area. There is no single area there. It is multi. So you just have a barrage of terrible calls in one little segment of this event. Like, I single out one little segment, and you have so many misinformation, so many disinformation and calls that have led to the disaster once again for this Mr. Odablock Warriors. And you can do this with anything. You can pick any point, pick any given point, any sample, take any sample control of this team, and you will find that it's the exact same. This is what the whole tournament is for them. This is just a microcosm of everything that's going wrong with this team. And yeah, one thing that also needs to be mentioned, like I talked about before, they were doing Samurai GVD, and they were actually being very productive for the first time in a long time. For the first time, they were actually doing something that is pretty macro efficient. It's a good goal that is nice to set out. And they were getting good drops from Sammy, a lot of alcohols, but they were also getting a Samurai Guard Sword. And for some reason, they think that it's bad and it's only worth its alc value. But I don't really understand this. Like, it's not that important to highlight for me, because the reason that Odablock Warriors are bad is not because they're not willing to utilize the Samurai Guard Sword, but I do believe that it's honestly one of the best spec weapons. Like, just whacking with a Guard Sword on a high strength account deals so much damage. It gives you so much KO potential, and the special attack is a guaranteed freeze. And as the event transpires, like, you will not find many people dying to barrages and chins and whatever, because despite the fact that it is multi, this is not like 50 versus 50 multi, 100 versus 100 multi. People are not going to clump up. Good teams are not going to clump up. They're going to stay far apart. So the only value in barraging is really catching the freeze, so that they can't escape and go back to the high ground. I don't understand why we are sleeping so much in a Guard Sword, but this is obviously meta-analysis. But Odablock was losing his mind over having acquired the Samurai Guard Sword, even though this would probably could have been the keys to the castle right then and there. This could be something that could really activate them, going out there on the battlefields with a Guard Sword as one of the only teams, if not the only team at this point, would be incredibly strong, whacking players left, right, and center, because this is what can really give you the KOs, give you that quick kills that set you up for the rest of the fight. Because if you can get that pick off immediately and instantly that will make the fight so much easier. But there's almost zero KO potential on this team when you're just barraging and you're just bolding a little bit. And yeah, guard sword wax would be so fucking powerful, just smacking 40s and 50s, and you have swashbuckler. You can make it a tick faster. Like, I don't understand why something like this is overslept on. And this is something like a strategist, a coach, or something could help them with. They could help them realize what they should do in situations like these. Because even if you're not going to go out of your way to acquire a guard sword, the fact that you got it passively from going for Staff of the Dead, you should utilize these passive things that you make along the way of your other goals that you've set out. So the fact that they are not willing to bring something as incredibly powerful as a Samurai Guard Sword to use is just ridiculous. And the fact that no one on this team is highlighting its potency also speaks about what this team is really about. Complete Congoliumets team. So we'll start where it all went wrong for this team, which was at the draft. Odablock brought all of this on himself by drafting a complete goy slob of a team. A very bad team. It's almost impossible to imagine a worse team than this. It is actually so goddamn bad, man. It is crazy. And I knew it right away after the draft had concluded. It was so easy to tell that this was the weakest team. There's too much of a class of personality and too many egos, and that's not going to work for you in something like this where you need coordination, you need teamwork, and you need people who are willing to sacrifice for the greater good of the team, which these people and these players aren't willing to do whatsoever. So I knew right away that this was one of the worst teams. It's not a normal takeaway that I've really seen from a lot of people, and that's because normies don't really understand what's happening here. They don't really understand how to interpret something like this, and they inaccurately rate players. So people don't think that Odablock is completely cooked off of this draft, but he just is. It's unbelievably poor drafting, and it's not necessarily the four worst players if you look at it in isolation, but composition wise, it's actually almost impossible to draft a worse team than this. It is actually almost impossible to have a worse composition than this. So what I mean by this, for example, suppose that you have like if this was equivalent to League of Legends, you might have, for example, let's say Rumble and Aphelios. Rumble right now in the meta is a higher priority champion than Aphelios is. But if you need an AD carry, then you're obviously going to be taking Aphelios over Rumble, even though Rumble is overall a better champion in isolation. And that's pretty much similar to the situation here. So you have a lot of players who in isolation maybe aren't the best. Aren't the worst, but together with the rest of the team, they just don't work at all. The thing about this is if you made this change, you see Foe, he's second to last pick, right, in the draft. Foe is second to last pick. He's a very low priority pick. If you had picked Foe as your first pick instead of Doobie Dobies, like this team would instantly become 10 times better than it is now. And that's, like, it seems ridiculous because you're throwing away a first round pick to get the lowest priority, like one of the lowest priority players. But this would actually give this team some strategy. Like, it would give them a little bit of leadership. It's not going to give you a very good micro. It's not going to give you any PKing whatsoever. But this team would instantly become 10 times better just by making such a low priority player, have him picked over your first overall pick in the draft. And that tells you how unbelievably cooked this draft is. The fact that such a low priority player would suddenly just instantly fix a lot of the problems that this team has. And yeah, the draft is completely cooked. Like I said, you really almost can't draft a worse team than this. Like, there are changes that you could make to this team where it would be pretty much the same as you have now. For example, if you had swapped out No Monkey with Mr. Mammal, like picked Mr. Mammal in place of No Monkey, they would be performing right around the same that they are now. Like it would almost be 1-to-1 the same. So the teams that where it wouldn't where a pick wouldn't change much, but it's hard to imagine anything that would make this team worse than it is now. He somehow like picked the worst team possible. If he had randomized his team, he would be in a much better and more favorable position. So this goes all the way back to the draft, and Odablock could really benefit from having a captain. Having a coach. It would be kind of fun if teams had head coaches. That would be doing the strategizing and maybe even be the ones picking, because him as a captain is really really rough. He really doesn't know what to look for in players, and he doesn't know how to have good team synergy, how to have good team composition, and he's looking for the completely wrong things. He's looking in. I really don't know what he's thinking. Like his thought process in all of this is completely scuffed. Like his thinking is really really weak, and it's coming to bite him here. And um, we are in a cooked situation as a result of the draft. And we start off with Doobie Dobies in the draft. First of all, selection from him, and that is a weak pick. Doesn't give you much, and one of the most anonymous players in All Stars so far. If you had wanted to have a PK, if you wanted to activate a PK early, you could have done much better. You could really have um, picked a lot better in his place. You could have picked some household names. Some like I would have looked towards someone like Mika, for example. There, even Scale Specs would probably have been better. Doobie Dobies is a really weak pick. Doesn't give you too much in terms of PKing and gives you nothing in terms of progressing the team. And then his second pick, follow-up pick, is No Monkey. Again, a horrible disaster pick. And he is. No Monkey is probably relative to his draft position. It is the second round that he got picked in, but he is the worst performer, I think, out of all players. Not too surprising though. This is kind of what I expected of him. I knew that people would overrate this guy, and I'm tired of seeing all the No Monkey apologists that I'm seeing around. I don't know what the fuck people are seeing, man. But complete delusional people are really overrating this guy, and he's completely throwing for the team. He's playing really really bad RuneScape, and I don't get the love for him at all. I think Odablock was a little bit enchanted by his peaking that he saw, because he saw No Monkey farm some plumbers and teachers in Last Man Standing, and I think he overrated him based off of that. So what he's thinking is he knows that No Monkey knows a thing or two about PVM, and then he sees him doing fairly well in PvP as well, and he thinks that's a good recipe if you put these two together. But the problem is, he's first of all overrating his ability in PVM, and then he's overrating his ability in PvP, and then he's overlooking all the terrible qualities of a player that No Monkey possesses. He is a bad Iron Man. He doesn't know much. He doesn't have high game knowledge at all whatsoever in terms of Iron Man qualities, which is important going into something like this. Knowing your next steps forward. He's a bad strategist. He's terrible at coming up with plans. He's a bad planner. He's mediocre at PvP. He has a huge ego. And his huge ego has literally outright gotten him killed several times this league. Like, literally just the fact that he has ego. Not like ability to play or whatever, which has also gotten him killed, but ego alone has killed him several times. And it has also lost the team a lot of time, his huge ego, because he will overrate himself. He will go in with low supplies, low HP, low prayer points, low resources. He will go into situations thinking he could get a KC, get a completion, and he will fail, and he will set the team 20 minutes back, 30 minutes back. And he will do this numerous times, just throwing away hours of account progression that someone without an ego, someone who is arguably probably worse at PVM, would never have done. So yeah, it's absolutely horrible what he's doing to the team. He is completely annihilating this team, and people are still like completely delusional. People are still saying that no monkey um, is saving this team, or that no monkey isn't the issue, that it's everyone else. But no monkey is literally the worst contributor on this team, and that's saying a lot because these other people on the team are also throwing completely and doing a horrible job. And no monkey is still somehow worse, and especially if you take into account his draft position as well as being a second rounder. So yeah, um, yeah, Odablock completely overvaluing him, over believing in his PvP ability, over believing in his PvM ability, and completely overlooking all the bad qualities that he possesses that makes him a horrible teammate. You've also seen him in the hardcore group with the Sebebe and what not have you. You've also seen him um, being a terrible communicator, being a terrible teammate. He's not fun to be playing together with. He should just stick to playing solo because he doesn't work in a team environment. And yeah, it's weird that that Odablock couldn't see this, but it ultimately reflects poorly on him again. And yeah, no monkey. Really tight about the talking points that surround him right now, where people think that where they almost feel sorry for him for being on this team when No Monkey is literally a huge contributor to the downfall of this team. Like his huge ego is literally setting the team so far back, getting himself killed, putting himself in terrible situations, dying all the time, having 0 conversion rate on TOA, feeding the other teams Samurai Spear, giving away what they are doing. He is absolutely terrible, and has no willingness to sacrifice for the team. There's no willingness to allocate resources into Odablock, to inject resources into Mr. Odablock. And yeah, No Monkey is a horrible teammate. And normies don't really understand this, but there's a difference between being able to do like a fast speed run, for example, getting a fast time, getting one fast completion at a random given time doesn't make you a great RuneScape player. People are completely confusing that. Like RuneScape players are very confused about this. That has nothing to do with efficiency. Um, what's efficient? Let's say just random putting out random numbers. If No Monkey can get a 37-minute TOA completion, and you have another player who can get a 40-minute TOA completion, normies would think that, oh, that makes No Monkey a better PVMer because he can do 37 versus the normal 40-minute completion. But if No Monkey is spending 50 minutes of prep time, and which is then followed by 50 minutes of downtime after he's done with the raid, you can quickly see that he's probably an extremely inefficient player. Whereas the guy who's taking 40 minutes to get the completion, he might have a low prep time of 1 to 2 minutes. He's fast as fuck at getting ready, and he has ability to send attempts after attempts after attempts, like just gritting and grinding and having the qualities of a good player. So people don't really understand this. They just think one fast speedrun time makes you a good player. No, it doesn't. It doesn't give you the qualities that can propel you forward in situations like this. And this is what we are seeing right on the battlefield. If people hadn't been so confused, they would really understand this right away. No Monkey is a very inefficient player, and he has terrible qualities, and he's a terrible RuneScape player, and he has a massive ego over nothing whatsoever. So that's pretty much the No Monkey pick card. Also a garbage pick, probably the worst pick of the draft. And it is then followed up by Reikisi, which is probably one of my least liked players out of this draft, out of this whole competition. He's also a very insufferable player. He has a massive ego. He has no ability to back it up with anything. He's also a terrible shot caller. In the last leagues that we've seen, he has gotten his team killed several times just from poor shot calling. And this time already we have seen he is literally making 3 wrong shot calls. 3 misinformed shot calls in the span of 10 minutes. Like, that is literally fucking impossible. He is first saying that the breach, they should hug the single zone when breach monsters can't even spawn. Then he's saying that they should go to a different area where breach monsters also can't spawn. And then he's saying they should go east where there's a single zone, which is also completely wrong. So 3 horrible calls in the span of 10 minutes. And on top of that, he's the most underleveled guy out of anyone. He is, at the time of making this video, the only player who doesn't have 100 combat. So he's most underleveled, with a massive ego, with a terrible shot calling. And this is literally just a continuation of his performance in the last Deadman modes as well. So nothing surprising, nothing new under the sun there. Huge ego, also unwilling to sacrifice. Yeah, this is terrible. He's also misclicking XP lamps, not even getting XP in the correct skills. Like, it's impossible. It's impossible to mess more up than this guy's doing. So yeah, the no monkey into Reikisi is complete scuffed, and they are paying the price for it. And then the draft is finalized and concluded with the Eviscape pick, which is obviously also one of the worst picks. Reikisi and Eviscape should probably have been the last two players picked overall in the draft. They should have been pick number 23 and pick number 24, and somehow they end up being on the same team, which is Odablock's team. How it happens is completely beyond me, but Odablock needs some coaching. He could benefit from having a general head coach behind him to help him with the draft, to help him with the strategizing, to help him with the planning, because this is complete nonsense. Yeah, Escape is someone who doesn't contribute a lot. He's also just a clip farmer. He's not really out there to make things happen. Not a serious player, not someone with ambitions. So this team is just full of massive egos with nothing to show for it, and no one who is willing to sacrifice. He would have benefited much better by picking support players who are pretty anonymous, but someone who would activate him, someone who would allocate resources into him, and someone who would enable him to do the things that Odablock excels in, namely being very proficient in PvP. But all the time they're relegated to absolutely nothing. Literally 45,000 people watching Odablock at the breach in starter gear, and some couple of Isaacs to boot. It's really depressing, and that's because he doesn't have a team that can activate him, that can enable him to do all the things that he's good at. So a huge failing on his part for picking those terrible players, and a huge failing on the part of the players who are unwilling to sacrifice and should probably not have been picked by any team if they could have been avoided. Because what's important here is people who are willing to work together as a coherent unit, and it's important that you abandon the ego, but these people are unwilling to, and now we're seeing the outcome of it. So the psychology behind all of this is obviously very interesting. It is very interesting to see what it is that makes Odablock's team so incredibly bad. And I knew this right away when the draft had concluded. I knew that this would be the worst team. We'll see how they recover for the rest of it, because I still think that the Deadman mode isn't punishing enough. Like, you could literally make a team now, starting from level 3, and you could be very competitive going into the last day, into the actual finale event. I think it should be even more punishing, like to the point where Odablock's team would be fully eliminated. But it's very forgiving game mode still. But this is like sort of like a meta talk about what All Star should be. I probably shouldn't entertain that too much. This is more to do with Odablock's situation, and like, what a horrible draft, horrible execution, and it is interesting. It is peculiar to see it all play out. But yeah, we will follow the developments for the rest of the All Stars, and we will see if he's somehow able to turn things around. But right now, it is not looking promising, and they are licking the wounds of their missteps over the last couple of days out of the opening days of the tournament. So we will see how it develops.